It is Friday, August 2nd, heading into the dog days of summer. Kind of has to do with the alignment of stars and things like that. But hope everybody's having a good summer. I know for folks around here, they're getting geared up for going back to school. Starts in a couple of weeks for my wife and kids and things like that. But this week I had a lot of fun. I'm going to talk about, do the usual thing, talk about some of the songs that went up. Throwback for some of those songs. And then I'm going to go into some of the stuff that's been happening on the forum. I want to talk a little bit about A shapes of bar chords and some of the other stuff that's been happening. So let's see. This week, a lot of songs from the recommend a lesson list. Did you notice that? Doc Watson, so we got into Deep River Blues, and then some really old songs. I know 1961 doesn't seem that long ago to some of us that were alive then, but Stand By Me, that was another one that's been on the recommend lesson list for a long time, and I thought, I kind of had been staying away from some of the songs that I thought, these are pretty basic, but I also haven't done a lot of easy songs in a long time. So, I mean, relatively, levels 3, 4, things like that. And but somehow they all managed to get complicated instead of just being a simple little strum along song. So anyway, we looked at Stand By Me by Ben E. King, which also kind of set the tone for the whole 50s sound. Billy Joel's album, was it An Innocent Man, I think, was one that pops into my head, and he was doing songs like Tell Her About It, and anyway, he had this whole cool 50s sound, kind of a half doo-wop sound, which is of course where Ben E. King's style came from, but or career started is a better way to put it. So let's see, there was another kind of really and then Bob Marley. That was a tune that, for example, I was thinking, it's high on the recommended list, but it's so basic that I didn't think I needed to do a lesson on it. And as I thought about it more, I thought, no, there's some really good things in there to pay attention to, and as I point out in the lesson, something that almost everybody gets wrong when they play that song. It's not as obvious as it seems. So I hope you're checking that out. What else? We had another part of Sandy's lesson where, and as you know, most of Sandy's lessons for our Fly on the Wall series get into theory and stuff. And I had her playing a House at Pooh Corner in like 4 or 5 different keys. Let's see, what's a good one? That makes a good instrumental. Let me work on that a little bit. Gotta get way down there. Ooh. That'll work. Nah. E's not my favorite key for that. Let's try it in A. Ooh, that's not gonna work. Better. Let's try it again. No, that's going to be a hard one to get. That's the chord I need. Let me try it again. Okay, sorry. Where was I? I was talking about stuff that we did this week. Did I forget anything yet? Of course! I hope you guys are playing along with the Fool on the Hill project and looking for ways to play these chords. I'm kind of hoping people will post some responses or thoughts, or even upload videos for review, or even questions with Neil from the Target program or something like that, wherever, because I kind of wanted to get this to be a community participation project. Haven't seen much of that yet, but maybe everybody is. So I do have more parts of this, of course, in the bank, ready to throw out when it seems like people are working on it. So one thing you could do is let me know if you think you're ready for part 2, which is, I forget what happens in part 2. I think I talk about some of the ways of playing the chords, or we'll go through some of the theory in case it's a little shaky. So, okay, let's see. A few things I want to talk about. Oh, we are, let me do the math, about 6 weeks, 5 or 6 or 7 weeks away from the International Guitar Camp, and we have looked into a few other places where people could stay, so we do have some off-site ideas. If anybody else is still thinking about jumping in at the last minute, we could squeeze in a few more people. Might just have to stay down the road a little ways, and could still get up and be part of all the stuff. And we'll of course be doing some Al Stewart stuff. Oh, I gotta get to this song too. I got to get to a lesson on that. Speaking of which, I'm working on a few more open tuning things. Ed was in the other day, and he had a couple of interesting requests, and we started playing some, or he had some things he'd been working on, and they were in open D. So I hope next week to get to an open D lesson or two. Anyway, camp. I'm really getting excited about it. I hope everybody else that's coming is, and if anybody can squeeze it into their early fall schedules, be sure to check into it. Let's see, other stuff that was on the forum that I thought was kind of cool this week were the question about playing A bar chords. You know, I just played through Stand By Me, and you may have noticed I played my A chords with a bar like this, and you know what my first string sounds like right now? Dead. You don't even need it. There are a lot of people that play this shape of a bar chord and either let the first string be dead, or even let it be part of the bar. Now when that happens, you've changed the chord. Of course, I'm sure everybody knows what that would be. If I play a B chord, but I've got a G sharp in there instead of an F sharp. But a lot of times you also can just skip that string. Everything was in the middle strings right there. So it is generally okay. The times it isn't are in some certain finger picking songs, but it's things that are a little bit more precise and more complicated. So I'm usually okay with this chord sounding like this, as long as this is not in, unless you're trying to get that Beatles sound of a chord, of a sixth chord. Oh, I just gave it away. That has a nice little ending for stuff. Okay, let's see. What else did I have to talk about? I really thought the videos that were put up with Tommy Emmanuel are great, and we haven't talked much about Tommy in a while, so I hope everybody's had a chance to check that out. And as anybody that's seen him or even just watched those videos, you can just see what a great ambassador for music and stuff, because he'll sit down with anybody and play anything and just have a blast, and everybody will too. So appreciate those getting shared with everybody here at Totally Guitars. And last thing I want to talk about is I also appreciate the couple people that logged in on the question about free lessons, because we have been trying to get that better organized for such a long time, and part of it is we just have a lot of stuff here, in case I'm sure everybody knows that we have too much stuff. Well, no. We just need a little better housekeeping system. And pretty soon, I think we've got the programming geniuses working on making sure that everything is easier to find, and that's what happened. I had to do a little inventory and did find there were over 60, which is what I'd been kind of saying, but I was just sort of guessing. I'm really glad I was not guessing and by that far off. back to playing more. I've been spending too much time, well, working on stuff for Totally Guitars, but that's really fun too. And you know, a few weeks ago, no, I guess it was a couple months ago, I was kind of spending less time doing things I was spending more time playing, and that was fun. So when I was working on stuff like this. My nails are thrashed, so right now it's been a bad nail month. I was like, anyway. So, what else? I am working on some box stuff. We might get into a few duets coming up. I think I've gone through everything I need to do. I kind of have to. Oh, last week I did cut out because I was hanging out with. I got to give you guys an update. This is now way off into the personal path. But remember my problem with my barber? Had to find a new one, and was thinking, man, there's hardly anybody I know that I'm not related to that I've known for 35 years. Was totally wrong. I think I brought this up last week. But last week we were out visiting. I had relatives, people I grew up with. We were next door neighbors when we were born, and we are still very close. So really appreciate the Rocky family for dropping in and spending a weekend with us. They're not probably ever going to see this, but just so you know, really amazing to have childhood friends. I've always thought of them more as relatives. Okay, I got to get back to practicing and thinking of cool songs to do. There are some really neat ones that have come up on the recommend a lesson list, by the way, that only have one vote. I mean, don't be surprised if we see something like Steel Rail Blues or something else come out soon. But I've been trying to really gear the lessons from what people are asking for there, and it doesn't always matter how many votes it has. Sometimes they need to have a lot, sometimes they only need to have one, and I think, of course, great lesson. So, okay, I've already played that. What do I have that I've never played for you guys? I haven't played for me either. Let me try this again. Yeah, I gotta resurrect some old pieces. Okay, beginning of August, I will be back with more of the TG news next week.